expanding our resources to produce video communications,
Mike, thanks for coming in.
It's a pleasure, Ron. I always enjoy coming and talking with ACORD.
Tune into Tech Talk.
The good news is our training series is now available on ACORD TV. Now, tune in.
Only in 2006, over $50 billion US will be spent on core legacy capabilities.
And I strongly maintain that automation is the key to recovery.
Some companies seem to think that that's way out in the future, SOA. That's really not here.
this is the beginning of the next chapter in ACORD Communications. Welcome to ACORD TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Maciag.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning again. We're going to get you in. This is different. Last year, I spoke about the need for an enterprise-wide industry standards compliance policy. 1/3 of you said that you had it, so I trust that more of you have done so over the course of the year. But as you know, it requires leadership from the top down. Easier said than done. The idea of standards is simple, but it gets complicated really fast. So communicating with our members and the industry becomes ever more critical for us at ACORD, especially as we expand ACORD standards from messaging to process and framework in support of new technologies and platforms. And especially because it's so important to bring both IT and business people together. Yes, one needs to be engaged in the process, maintain that enterprise perspective, and cultivate support through and beyond the organization. So my message to you today is that ACORD will provide new tools to communicate and collaborate. In fact, we're going to be, how should I say this politely, in your face. Take a look at this. Now, you'd think there would be a better way to get into this website, but then again, this is a work in progress, so what do you expect? Bringing the industry together to agree on standards means working with hundreds of people participating in our programs. But getting standards adopted and implemented means they collectively need to work with thousands of people. Now consider the lines of business and markets around the world that we support and all the trading partners that make up the insurance value chain, and we need to reach tens of thousands of people. Add all the touch points and intersections, and that number jumps very fast to hundreds of thousands of people. And believe me, those faces change all the time. At ACORD, communications is a major challenge. We take it seriously, and we are in the process of reimagining how we do it. So welcome to the beginning of the future of ACORD Communications. And it begins right here with our website. How about video on demand? Expanding our resources to produce video communications will allow us to more effectively reach our members, and equally important, the industry. ACORD is a cooperative association, and we rely on you to be part of the communications chain. So it's incumbent upon us to give you the tools to do it, like video clips that you can use with your boss, your peers, and your staff.
From a communication standpoint, it's a much more iterative process than it's ever been before in terms of how member companies communicate with ACORD.
C-level executives, any executives within an organization have got to be very sure that they explain to their staff what ACORD is all about. Once the eyes have been opened, then I think you find many willing disciples in the picture. But that kind of leadership should be indivisible. It should not be ACORD or maybe not ACORD. ACORD is a box I'd like to tick off right at the beginning of every project, and I do, and it works.
If we can cut the cycle time in half, that means that we move the business across our case managers' desks in half the time. That means they can handle twice as much business without my having to add any additional staff people.
We look at vendors to make sure that they're compatible and that they do have adopted standards. So the ability for them to integrate with each other is critical, because you don't want to have forced integration. Because
we use the ACORD standards in our policy administration systems, both on the commercial and personal line side, and we automatically link with the agency management systems in one standard way. It's easier for us to do it. We save a lot of money in terms of developing the processes in order to make that happen.
The value of standards to applied systems is really the fact that we can use one medium for the message to multiple parties. We don't have to develop proprietary interfaces to 200 or 300 different insurance companies. And if we all support that, our costs will go way down, our research and development will go up, and we'll be able to focus on new ways to do business and drive the cost out of the industry.
I believe that industry standards are significantly improving our process between trading partners, in that it's helping us bring consistency from one trading partner to the next.
If we're using a standardized message, then I can take things like a tracking ID or a policy number, and I can move that into an index of an image. I can also move it to other kinds of communication if I need to send it to a service provider who may be doing a teleinterview or ordering medical requirements. So that standardized message can be tracked and everyone can accept it because it's just plug and play.
We use the ACORD data model as kind of the Rosetta Stone for all data translation, because the ACORD data model is the largest data set, and it's uniform and it's easiest to move information in and out of. And it's obviously it's created by the body, and that's where everything's going to. So we move everything to that standard. We can migrate things there, we can translate things in and out of it, and over time we can eliminate those older or legacy file formats and replace everything with ACORD in an XML response request type of a method. And that's really what we do.
We want you to be able to see, hear, and talk to the leaders, so you'll see executives appearing from time to time in this space. Not all ACORD members share the same time zone, so we need to make information available 24/7. And just as important, customize it for your segment of the business.
Looking back sort of 2 or 3 years, ACORD really was unheard of in the London market. Quite major in the US, but relatively unheard of in London. And now in every presentation or every conference or every press article, ACORD is mentioned. It's mentioned as synonymous with reform. There's a clear expectation now that ACORD can work with the reform agenda within London and within the industry as a whole. And I think there's a definite sea change in the way ACORD are now tackling the needs of the insurance world as it begins to focus up a layer on process and the extent to which those standards underpin those processes to ensure that reforms become real rather than just pure data standards.
I'm Roy Laker from the ACORD office in London, and here with me today I have Mike Smith from the Market Reform Programme office. Mike and I are here to talk about claims and what's going on in the London market today. Mike, thanks for coming in.
It's a pleasure, Roy. I always enjoy coming and talking with ACORD.
If everybody agrees to adopt ACORD standards, then we can move to a totally and completely different environment. So what we've tried to do is to lead by example, becoming partners with those carriers, with those Lloyd syndicates that are prepared to move ahead, not at the pace of the slowest, but at the pace of the fastest. And that's why ACORD is so important to us.
And we can add ACORD members on continental Europe, South Africa, Japan, and Asia with just a few clicks. We have training and education videos in the pipeline and plan to do segments about vendor products and services. Let's reimagine a virtual exhibit hall 24/7 by 365. And when we have an important meeting, we can get you there, and you don't even need to leave your desk. we'll do a webcast like this one.
This is a first at ACORD. We're doing a simulcast, a webcast, so everything going on here is also being broadcast to the webs. We'll find out in a minute who's out there. But kind of checking at the back to make certain everything's in order. I believe it is. Do we have anyone who's dialed in virtually?
What's new at ACORD? How about the news and other timely information? Rick Gilman will host ACORD Today.
Welcome to ACORD Today. Let me ask you, what is the insurance industry running on these days? Okay, put down your pencils. The answer is legacy systems. According to a new report from Forrester Research, managing legacy systems is the biggest issue for carrier IT, but not perhaps for the reasons you think. Today, Mark Cesare, Vice President of Forrester Research, explains why to ACORD's Denise Garth.
Senior executives need to hear from other senior executives. And sometimes you need to showcase the people who are paving the way. We've got ACORD Live. My guest today is Chris Rawson, CIO at Lloyd's of London. Welcome. My guest today is Jim Kellner, Chairman and CEO of Applied Systems. My guest is Gordon Stewart, President of the Insurance Information Institute. Gordon, welcome. My guest today is Tom Donaldson, President of LOMA. Now, this design you see will change over the year. Navigation is being improved, and we're adding a public and a member library for published documents. And we want to make the site more interactive, giving you a voice. And we're also looking into password-protected portals so you can manage and customize ACORD content for your team. Let's see, downloads, presentations, virtual meetings, video podcasts, well, you get the idea. It's all about reimagining how we communicate with you. And I'm looking forward to getting all of you in here with me. Speaking about in here, how do I get out? Hello? Hello? Hey, who turned the lights out? Hello? All right, I'm here. Lights, lights, lights. It was fascinating, wasn't it? They finally let me out. And I couldn't find myself in a better place than here with all of you in Las Vegas. How we communicate can mean the difference between success and failure. John Hagel, our keynote speaker this morning, talks about collaboration beyond the enterprise. He talks about building capability quickly, finding value around the edges of your organization. He says you need to work with others to get better, faster. He's talking about you and what we do at ACORD. And I know video on demand will become more valuable in our work together. My job, among other things, is to make it easier for all of you to be part of ACORD. Thanks for being here.